Hi, I'm 13 News Now meteorologist Craig Moeller with this update on Tropical Storm Elsa. You can see the 8 o'clock information that came out with this advisory. Still moving northeast at 18 miles per hour. That's significant. We want it to come on in quickly and get out just as quickly. Where we get into trouble with these things and the potential for flooding rain is when they slow down or stall out. So the fact this is going to come through quickly, that's good. Maximum winds 40 miles per hour, so it is a minimal tropical storm, but this thing has had a history of producing little spin-up circulations. There have been numerous little tornado warnings associated with this, so we're going to continue to watch that as we go through the afternoon. Look for the winds generally to increase as we get into the afternoon. These are for Norfolk, the winds here, the gusts that you see potential, and they'll pick up. I do think we'll see higher gusts than this across the region. Some areas could see winds gusting up to about 40 or even 45 miles per hour. The rain chance is also going up with showers and thunderstorms more likely and widespread as we get into the late afternoon and evening. I'll show you that with our Futurecast. The main threats from Elsa, we're going to find rainfall amounts in general 1 to 3 inches. Some areas could see a little bit more. So we'll say minor to moderate impacts from the potential heavier rain coming down later this afternoon. Winds, as I mentioned, could gust up over 40 miles per hour, especially at the coast and out over the water. We're going to watch for that. Tidal flooding, not so much a concern with this one. It's generally very low for most of the area. However, there could be some minor issues around Sandbridge. When you think about Back Bay, some of the water getting pooled up that way with the strong southwest and south winds. We could also see some sound side issues, so we will be monitoring those water levels through the afternoon and into the evening. I think the greater threat here potentially, and again, they'll be very isolated, but if you get an isolated tornado or two, it doesn't take much to maybe take a tree down onto a road or maybe do a little bit of damage around a property. So we need to watch for that. Again, on the right side of that track, which is where we are in Hampton Roads, we do have that minor to moderate threat for isolated tornadoes. Take a look here. The tropical storm warnings in place. This is for the eastern shore, the northern neck, the middle peninsula, and the peninsula. So all of these areas under tropical storm warning. You come south side, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, and Suffolk, down into eastern North Carolina. The tropical storm warnings are out there, and we have a level 2 threat for severe weather. Again, the primary threat, some gusty winds and possible isolated tornadoes down around eastern North Carolina. Certainly the Albemarle, the Pamlico Sounds, likely to see some of those stronger storms. And then we've got a level 1 threat across most of our 13 News Now viewing area. All right, as we take a look at the conditions out there, here's the track. We're going to see things really deteriorating later this afternoon and into the evening. You'll see at 2 o'clock, it'll still be down around Raleigh, the center, but then by 2 a.m., it's going to be moving back over Delaware and then off to the northeast after that. The expected intensity right around 40 miles per hour, so not a lot of fluctuation there. Once it gets back out over water, it may start to tick up a little bit. Could see 45 to 50 mile per hour maximum sustained winds, but generally expected to remain a tropical storm. Again, right now it is over land. It has been holding on with those 40 mile per hour maximum sustained winds. This will continue to spread up into the area, the rain getting closer to Hampton Roads through the middle part of the morning. By late morning and into the afternoon, that's when we'll start to see more of the rain and some of these embedded heavier cells, potential isolated spin-up tornadoes and some rotating cells there, a possibility this afternoon. We'll pick up our Futurecast and you can see how things time out again. Around 1 o'clock, we're starting to see some cells working in. Here comes a heavier band of activity pushing through, say between 3 and 4 o'clock. And then here's the heavier concentration of rain closer to the center of Elsa. This is going to track up through the area as we go late afternoon. This is at 5:30, and then through the evening hours by 7 o'clock. Could see some very intense rainfall over parts of the area. You'll notice some of the heavier rain. We'll get some heavier bands coming through closer to the coast, but the heavier widespread rain probably a little farther inland. That will continue to work off to the north and to the northeast, and by 9 o'clock the heaviest rain across northern parts of the viewing area. Still some heavier cells potentially across the south side and into northeast North Carolina. I think as we go through the late evening, 10:30, 11 o'clock, again the rain starts to pull farther away and by midnight, things are quieting down across the region. Tomorrow looks better for Hampton Roads, but there's still a chance for an isolated storm or two, just a product of the heat and humidity. Now, as far as the winds go, this is another look at one of our models here with the wind projections. Through the afternoons, the wind's starting to pick up a little bit. We could start seeing some tropical storm force gusts are very close to it down along the outer banks, even by 4:30 or so. As we get into the evening hours, now you're seeing the winds picking up a little bit more at the coast and around the Albemarle Sound. This is at 6:45. As we get into the evening, say 8 to 9:30, now you're looking tropical storm force winds, potentially Kill Devil Hills, Elizabeth City, back to Virginia Beach, even around Edenton. So we're going to need to watch that as the system passes by. We may see the winds ramping up a little bit more through the evening hours. And then as we go late evening and shortly after midnight, we'll see the winds start to relax out to the west and to the southwest. Still very intense here around midnight. Virginia Beach up through Melfa and Chincoteague, but things will be improving as we go across Hampton Roads later through the overnight and early tomorrow. Melfa, Chincoteague at 2 o'clock, still some gusty winds up that way. Things improving as we head towards sunrise. Now, I mentioned that potential for heavier rain, some of the inland areas out towards I-95. We do have flash flood watches in place, and we're going to continue to watch that. Some potential coastal flooding around the Sounds. I mentioned Soundside and back up towards Back Bay. So we're going to monitor those water levels. General rainfall amounts probably heavier farther inland, but 1 to 2, maybe 1 to 3 inches across parts of Hampton Roads, certainly a possibility. So temperatures today around Hampton Roads, mid 80s to maybe even upper 80s briefly, but falling off with the storms developing late. The winds are going to increase as we get into the evening hours and overnight. 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. Could see some gusts around 40 as I just showed you, lows near 74, and then tomorrow 92. So that's what we're looking at. Here's a 7-day forecast. Temperatures will rebound into the lower 90s as we get into the early part of next week. For now, our concerns with Elsa, we will keep you updated. So stay tuned to 13 News Now throughout the day for coverage on that, and you'll find more on our digital platforms as well.